Welcome along, everyone, to the 1UP Nitro National Series. This is getting into the home stretch. We're at race 21 of 25 in the 2021 1UP Nitro National Series season, and we're at the shortest track we ever go to in the 2021 season across both series. It's at the beautiful South Boston Speedway in the town of the same name in Virginia. This 0.4-mile track provides lots of racing action, and we're sure to see plenty of it for 102 laps around this tight oval. And alongside me in the booth today, as always, is Duke Ansack, and for this race, you're going to want to be on the bottom all the way around. This is a bottom feeders racetrack in every sense of the word. You lose a lot of time up on the ring in the top, so does that give an advantage, perhaps, to those starting on the inside line?
Oh, it absolutely does. You know, this when you want to be on the bottom at a track like this, it's just like a Bristol or a Martinsville or something like that, where, you know, you just have to be on the bottom. That's how you get around this place. And if you want to pass, well, you're going to have to move people off the bottom. So that's the most exciting part about a track like this is that, you know, you have so many opportunities to pass. You got 102 laps today. That means 204 opportunities to pass when you're going around the corners. And you know, you got to use them wisely, and you got to make quick time with people. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I think that bottom lane is probably going to take off to start this thing. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see who is able to lead early and then whose car is going to be better in the later stages of the race.
Looking at the starting grid now, Santiago Alvarez gets his first career pole in the 1UP Nitro National Series. He lines up on pole position in the Sunoco Ford, and right behind him are the two regular season favorites, Sam Denotto and Alex Verget-Berube, starting second and third respectively. Got Zach Rogers on a bit of a hot streak as of late, lining up fourth, and Dylan Young, a top 10 machine as of late, rounding out the top five. And looking back through the rest of the field, we see a lot of names. This field's been pretty jumbled up. This is a very equalizing racetrack, almost akin to a super speedway, almost in that sense. I expect the Dayspring cars to contend. I expect your cars to contend pretty well. I expect to see Sam Denotto up in the mix. But is there any names that I didn't mention that you would have mentioned there?
Well, you know, I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that 52 of Keon Daly. You know, they're just the points leader right now. You know, you want to have a really good day. Not the best starting position today, but you know, it's just gonna be. It's going to have to be one of those races where you run up front. You have to have a solid day today at South Boston because we're getting to the point in the season where now's the time. You know, if you're in the playoffs already and you're struggling like Alex in the 3-car, you know, he's been struggling so far in the playoffs. It's got to turn around today. This is the day to do it. Go up there, get yourself a win, get yourself a lot of points. And right now, this is going to be the beginning of the final stretch of the season. This is it. You gotta start your momentum right now, or else you're not gonna have a shot. So it'll be fascinating to see who ends up on top today, because that's gonna be somebody to watch for the rest of the season.
And with that being said, the cars are lined up on the grid, and as always, we're ready to bring you 102 laps of close quarters racing action from South Boston Speedway. We always love it when these local short tracks get to have some fun with these big old stock cars. And the green flag is next, folks. You won't want to miss it, because the race and the championship hunt begin right now. As the pace car pulls on the pit road, we invite you to join us for a silent lap one, as we always do, in memory of the late Ryan Darnell. Green flag in the air. Alvarez made a good getaway from pole position, and it looks like Zach Rogers from fourth starting spot made that outside work, because he's now up into second, past both Alex Verget-Berube and Sam Denotto in the 0-0.
Yeah, he was able to slip down there and just kind of make it happen there. But look, even on the straightaway with the people who aren't in the outside lane, they run the middle. I mean, it's all defense here at South Boston. You just don't want anybody to get to the low side of you in the corners at all, because if they do, you're going to be in the outside lane, and you're not going to just lose that one position. You'll be losing a lot. So right now it looks like that 3-car is in third right now. It's stabilized right there, and then the 8 is side by side for fourth. So, you know, with the 51, it's everything is starting to sort out a little bit. It's a long race today, so 102 laps around. It's you just want to settle in here, and you want to make sure that you can be there at the end of this thing, so you got a shot at the end.
We're already on lap 6, and Alvarez has led comfortably throughout, but Zach Rogers making gains on that inside line. Kaysen Cooper having a very strong run in that 51. We never see him up front aside from super speedway races, and yet here he is in the 4th position trying to hold off Devin Fair, who's a tried and true short track wizard at these types of small race tracks. He's started 13th, and after just 7 laps, he's already up in the top 5. That car is going to be a contender for this win, I'm pretty sure, after the day's all said and done. And we didn't mention it at the top of the show, but A.J. Jones running in 7th in that 77 car. That team is under a lot of stress lately. Their team owner, MIA, as of this moment. This could be A.J. Jones' last race for a long time, and he's making the most of it. He's now made a move into the 7th position.
Yeah, I mean, that's a situation where you just want to put it all on the line at this point. If you don't know what's coming next, you might as well send it and make sure you have a good finish out of it. Here's the 42 car in 2nd place, holding strong, and Kaysen Cooper doing a great job working on Alex in the 3 car for 3rd place. Gets to the bottom there, side by side, going into the corner, forces the 3 up high, and not any run off the top of the corner. So looks like that 51 car is gonna be able to slide into 3rd place here and maybe make a run for the top 2 soon after, because the car looks really fast right now. The 51 does.
He entered today 32nd in the points with only 1 top 10 to speak of this season. He needed a good run. As up front now, we've got a battle for the lead between Zach Rogers and Santiago Alvarez in the 98. Looks like Rogers is going to get underneath the 98. Question is, how long can Alvarez hold on, as Cooper is lurking back there in 3rd. Rogers makes the move around the inside, and just as Santiago Alvarez led his first laps of the season on lap 1, so too does Zach Rogers. He leads his first lap of the season and of his career right there in that 42 car.
That was a good move from the 42. Got up there, and now he's got to drive away because the 51 is on the move, on the prowl today in this race. That 51 car is, just coming up through the pack. No pit stops to worry about, so it's a sprint all the way. If we don't see a caution in this race, then it's all going to be determined on green flag passes and who's able to get up there and lead on the final lap, just straight up all the way to the end. So Kaysen Cooper's car is looking good right now, trying to get up there into 2nd place.
But no one's got a better view than Zach Rogers. He's built up a 1-second lead already on just lap 17. But keep in mind, this track being as small as it is, we are going to see lap traffic be a big factor in this race, because they may force drivers to run a bit higher than they want to, and that is just going to allow cars behind to close back in. It's just going to be a very interesting battle for the rest of this race, as looking at the back of the field right now, you see a couple playoff drivers back there. Brett Bishop, Christian Russell back there, and as well as this 18 of Austin Runkle making his series debut in this 18 car for Kings Motorsports. He started pretty high up in the field, but he was stuck on the outside lane for so long, it's just dropped him very far down the running order. He's now in 36th position.
Yeah, starting on the outside, especially if you're in the back of the pack, is really a nightmare for sure, because it's just you're just stuck out there. You can't move down at all. The 42 did a really nice job on the start to drop down as soon as possible and gain some spots even from the outside lane. But something I'm noticing in this race right now as we're watching Kaysen Cooper work on 2nd place is that the whole top 5 right now are non-playoff drivers. It's incredible. The 3 car in 6th place is the first playoff driver. And then even farther behind that, you'll have to search to find the next one. So, this is not a playoff driver-heavy race right now, which is really fascinating, almost surprising, I'd say, especially with the 3 car starting so close to the front. But yeah, that's just a product of the racing here and how certain people are better at it than others.
This is a very Dodge-friendly racetrack right now. We've got one leading the race, and we've got this one in 8th place, A.J. Jones. We mentioned him earlier. this could be his last race for a while, and he wants to prove to prospective team owners who have openings for 2022 that, hey, in the relatively few starts I've had so far, I've been in bottom tier equipment. I'm capable of putting them pretty far up the grid right now, and he's holding steady in 8th place ahead of top level teams like Peter Onjak, Nicky Martinez, Jared Jackson, and more. So AJ Jones putting on a wonderful performance. Of course, this is just the early stages of the run. One can only wonder if his long run pace is up to par with that. As we move back up to 5th, Devin Fair started in the 13th position, and he's all the way up in 4th right now, but he's facing pressure from that spot from Alex in the 3. We'll see who wins out in this battle as it progresses.
Yeah, so Devin Fair had made that pass already and was running in that 4th position, but now the 3 car is coming back on the bottom, and now Kaysen Cooper is moving, trying to make a move for 2nd place here. He's on the bottom, he's in the preferred lane. It looks like he's going to make it happen. Can the 3 car get the spot as well, running on the bottom? I don't know, we'll have to see, but the 42 right now has built up a massive lead at this track. It's a tiny little track. It's a 2-second lead he's got, and man, oh man, that's incredible. But the lap traffic is looming, so once he hits the lap traffic, it's gonna be something special to watch, to see if he can get through, because they were 2 and 3 wide up there racing side by side, and all for position as well. So nobody's going to want to let him pass, and it's going to bring everybody together, that's for sure.
Kaysen Cooper running 2nd as a previous best finish of 8th. That came at Pensacola in the summer. So this runner-up finish, if he can stay there, will be an incredible run, especially on a track where he was not favored to have a good day. But he started pretty well, and he's made his way up into the top 5 right now. So a very good run. As you can see, the lap traffic start to form up ahead of Zach Rogers in this 42 car. He's never led a race before, so he's never had to be the first car at lap traffic before either. So he really needs to finesse these cars. He needs to keep them above him, and he needs to, above all, stay on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, for sure. You know, if you end up on the top of this track trying to pass cars, you're just going to get eaten up by everybody behind, and a lot of those cars behind are coming really fast. I mean, Kaysen Cooper has been fast, and the 3 car is starting to really turn on. I mean, he's caught up to Kaysen Cooper right now, and sees the opportunity to gain a lot of points in this race. In fact, it almost looks like they're side by side back there. But yeah, this 42 car, he's got that big gap right now. He's able to kind of be calm, but once he gets to those lappers, he's going to really have to stay on the bottom and knife through them very calmly and patiently. That's the only way he's going to be able to stay out front.
And we're closing in on 1/3 distance in this race already. We're on lap 37 of 102. And Zach Rogers has led since lap 13 of this race. This is the first race in his career that Zach Rogers has been out in front, and he's closing in on the back of Sam Joseph, Jose Guerrero in the 78, and a couple others right ahead of them. The playoff field is quite spread out in this field. There are some running up front, like Alex in the 3, Jared Jackson, Nicky Martinez are also in the top 10. But you got other drivers at the back of the line, like Christian Russell. You can see him right there. He's the 2nd car to be lapped by Zach Rogers. This is a disaster for Russell, who already entered this race last of the playoff drivers, so he needed a good run today to keep his championship hopes alive, and this is not doing him any favors.
Yeah, full 52 points behind for Christian Russell going into this race. An absolute nightmare sitting in the back watching the leader catch up to you. That's not the place you want to be if you're already that far behind, and of course the place that you do want to be is where Alex is running close up front, one of the highest playoff drivers today, except fell from 3rd to 5th in the last couple laps. Not sure what happened there, but you know, of course everybody's still hanging out and making sure they're able to get up to the lap cars, because that's where all the action is going to be. As we can see, the first one is going to lap down now. The 42 is making moves and getting through there. Put a gap car between himself and Kaysen Cooper.
That's Eric Monaco in the 73, who's now been put a lap down by Zach Rogers. But Monaco does not want to stay a lap down. He's going to try and unlap himself right here. That's put the 42 up on the high side. We'll see how much this gap shrinks as a result of this, because Monaco now on the inside of Zach Rogers. try and get his lap back, and you can see the gap has shrunk by about half a second already. So Kason Cooper in the 51 is closing in on Zach Rogers. These are not the drivers we expected to possibly win this race, but here they are running 1-2, and the gap's gone down by another 0.4. That move by Eric Monaco has put a serious dent in Zach Rogers' lead.
Yeah, Zach Rogers, we were saying as he caught up to the lap traffic, you do not want to get stuck in the outside lane. That's exactly what happened, and he lost a ton of that gap he had, and now he's got to try to pass Christian Russell here on the inside. Hopefully that works out. It looks like it will. Another gap car between, but he cannot let Christian Russell come back and cross him over and put him on the outside, because if he does, everybody's going to be caught right back up to him, and it's going to be real bad for the 42 car. So he's going back on Eric Monaco. I'm sure he's not super happy with his Dodge manufactured teammate there, getting by him there and putting him a lap down now for good measure after that mess of being on the outside lane.
But right now it is Rogers with about a 1.5 second lead over Kason Cooper. Felix Anderson's moved up into the 3rd spot. And the 87 car just barely missed a playoff spot in the 87, along with Elijah Ironhouse running in 4th. But Devin Fair is making moves on the 8 car to take over the 4th spot. That 01 car is always a threat on these short tracks, and this is no exception. He started 13th, he's running in 4th now, and with half this race gone, I fully expect this 01 car to be a challenger. If anybody can challenge Zach Rogers at this rate, I believe it's that 01.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that, and these guys are all just kind of biding their time right now. We're halfway through the race at this point, so you just kind of have to make sure that you can get through these lap cars faster. Everybody's caught up to them now. We got race cars strung all the way around the track, so there's no escaping. And the 42 car is nearly in sight for the 51. So it's about time that things start to ramp up a little bit, and you just have to be patient. The most patient driver is going to win this thing.
Yep, Zach Rogers right now just enjoying a comfortable lead. He's still got about a second's gap over Kason Cooper, Felix Anderson, and Devin Fair as he laps past Jose Guerrero in the 78. This could be his last race for a little while, as he is a teammate to A.J. Jones in that 78 car. But right now, you see the car up ahead of Zach Rogers. It says McMillan above the windshield. That is Jonathan Lawson in that car. What happened was, after Jonathan Lawson made his series debut at Knoxville a few weeks ago, and his car was heavily damaged in a wreck. That was that team's only short track car. So they had to bring their intermediate car to the race at South Boston here, and that intermediate car had Jake McMillan's name on it from other races that he was going to make to run at. So that is Jonathan Lawson in that car, making his second career Nitro National Series start, even though it does say Jake McMillan on the car. That is Jonathan Lawson in that car, and he's running much better than he did at Knoxville. Even though he's gone a lap down, he's running as many laps as he can, and that's really what he needed to do tonight.
Yeah, running laps is the key for that type of situation. You just got to complete as many laps as you can, stay out there, don't get crashed, and you're gonna do good. Even if it's not your name that's on the car, you still want to try to stay out there. So that's a interesting story there. I think that's a fascinating one that they'll remember in years to come. When they look at the first or second start there and say it wasn't actually Jake McMillan in the car. It's Lawson. But now we're looking at this 42, and the gap is staying the same. He's able to kind of pass people. They're not really too wide in front, which is good for the leader. Of course, he's able to get to the bottom there. He's able to pass by and make everything happen fairly quickly and easily. Whereas if you look back on some of these camera shots coming out of the corners, they're too wide in front of Kason Cooper. In fact, they're racing for position in second and third are. So that's the kind of thing where you just have to be careful and make sure that you're not losing time passing traffic, because the lead is extending, and it's it's not looking too good for those in second and third right now.
Believe it or not, we only have 40 laps to go in this race. That's how much time has flown by when you're having a good time at South Boston. And Zach Rogers has comfortably led the last 50 or so laps. Remember, this is a driver who's never led in his career before today, and now he's already led 50 laps. Up ahead is Logan Williams, Rogers' teammate, about to go a lap down, and this car, Robert Weaver, who's in his second career start as well, and was involved in that crash at Knoxville with Jonathan Lawson that put both cars out of the race. But this is a beautiful-looking race car. It's hanging on to the lead lap for the time being, and this Roberts Racing car, I imagine, will have better runs than this in the future when they have more experienced drivers behind the wheel. But still a good run from Robert Weaver, just trying to, like I said before, complete all the laps, as many laps as you can, and just hold on. And if that means going a lap down to a dominant car like Zach Rogers, then so be it.
Yeah, for sure. And this is the kind of track where it's a rough place to go 102 laps around. I mean, you're turning almost all the time. There's not a lot of time to breathe on the straightaways, and you're just trying to wheel that thing and learn as much as you can and try to stay out of trouble. So, it's just the kind of thing for that 66 team right now. Just make sure you're out there for the whole race and you're learning every time. Whoa, get really, really wide in that corner right there. That was a learning experience, I'd say, for Robert Weaver right there. And right now we got the leader breathing down his neck, and here's second place Devin Fair now, as the 51 car has dropped to fifth place. That's incredible. I guess that was maybe burnt up his tires in the beginning of this race in the short run there, but Devin Fair is still looking good and trying to catch up. He's dropped that lead down to 1.36 seconds at this point.
And we're closing in on 30 laps to go, and Rogers is still stuck behind Weaver in the 66, so that gap is beginning to close. It's down to 1.25 seconds now between Rogers and Fair. Rogers looking for his first career win. Devin Fair, of course, won at Pittsburgh earlier this season, another short track. So Fair is very good at these tracks. Rogers more of a road course guy. He's got half of his career top 10s on the road courses. Remember, he finished second last week at Armory Digital to Elijah Ironhouse in the 8th. So Rogers is on a bit of a momentum run as of late, and he would love nothing more than to culminate that with his first career win in the Nitro National Series, as we have 30 laps to go.
Yeah, and both of those drivers, Zach Rogers and Elijah Ironhouse, are doing good today. Ironhouse is sitting in third place, looking really good right now at the end of this race. And Ironhouse's teammate, who is doing really good, playoff contender Alex Frigette-Barube, is nowhere to be found in the top 10 at least, has fallen all the way out. I don't know what happened. Maybe got stuck on the outside or just kind of fell back silently, but not anywhere to be found. Nicky Martinez is still running well in 7th, so that's your playoff driver update.
And remember when you said earlier, I hate to interrupt, but remember when you said earlier about Keon Daly having a dreadful starting spot? He's all the way up at the 6th place now in that 52 Toyota. Driver to race so far to go from 38th to 6th. And he should be able to keep the points lead if he can finish at or about that position. So Keon Daly looking like a real threat for this championship.
Absolutely, and there's no playoff drivers ahead of him in the running order, so that's something that's absolutely incredible. That I'm just amazed that has happened in this race, starting so far in the back to catch up to 6th place, and then probably even more before this race is done.
And with only 5 races left in the season, 4 after today, every point matters. And if you can keep that lead as long as you can, even with only 4 races left, that your competitors are running out of opportunities to overtake you in the championship. Keon Daly could come out of this as the one-up Nitro National Series champion. For nights like this, where you overcome maybe a poor qualifying run, maybe an early mishap in a race, but if you can rebound and get that nice top 10 finish, just that solid, easy performance, that will get you places. And it might even lead, like I said, towards a Nitro National Series championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in a race like this where you've got a lot of your main competition, Ryan Caggiano not in the top 10, Dylan Young not in the top 10, Sam Denoto, who started in 2nd place, not in the top 10, and the list just goes on and on. Alexa Lutchen not in the top 10. The only two right now are Keith Hughes and Aaron Hall. They're the only ones that are sitting there in the top 10 and able to get some points out of this thing. And even then, Keon Daly's ahead. So it's a great run from Keon Daly today. An absolute turnaround from the beginning of the race. Just something that I did not expect to happen from that team, but they're putting on a show today and really cementing themselves as a contender.
Question is now, going back to the race at hand, with 20 laps to go, can Felix Anderson or Elijah Ironhouse, Kason Cooper, Devin Fair, can one of these cars catch up to Zach Rogers with less than 20 laps to go? Can one of them gain 2.5 seconds now? As we look at AJ Jones now, who just won a lap down to Zach Rogers, he didn't have the long run pace to match his short run speed, and he is now a lap down in the 30th position. But still a very good run from that 77 car. It showed speed, and I'm sure he'll get a ride in the near future, I'm sure without a doubt. But right now, Rogers continues to lead the way with a 2.5 second lead with about 15 laps to go. And at this point in the race, you just gotta keep calm and don't worry about the cars behind you, because there are plenty ways behind you, about a straightaway behind, actually. So you can afford to just relax your pace, focus on getting around the lap traffic, and eventually a victory should be yours.
Yeah, and to answer your question, can anybody catch him? Well, I don't know, but we've watched in this race so far that the gap between first and second place has kind of flowed a little bit. And right now we've got cars that are too wide in front of the leader, so that's of course gonna slow him down a little bit. It's down to less than 2 seconds, just barely, but less than 2 seconds right now. It's dropped from 3.5 seconds a couple laps ago. So there's just a flow, and if you can capitalize on some of these lap cars, and when you catch them in comparison to when the leader catches them, you should be able to cut down some of that gap significantly. And then you just got to push harder and harder every single lap. Try to get by those guys as fast as you can. Get them in one corner. Get them in the entry of the corner. Just start picking them off as fast as you can and get by them so that the next car in front of you is the leader. That's the only way to do it. And so far, nobody's been able to do it, but we've got just more than 10 laps left in this race. I think that there's still enough time. It just depends on if anybody has a car fast enough to be able to get there.
I believe Devin Fair's got that car. I believe Felix Anderson could have that car. Elijah Ironhouse now a bit too far back to challenge, so I believe it'll be down to these three cars now. Zach Rogers with a 1.6 second lead with 10 laps to go. He's starting to hear things now. As we always say, he's starting to worry about the things going on in that car, because he's 9 laps away from his first career win, and he knows that. His crew chief is telling him that information. But right now, he's got a 1.5 second lead, and he's still nervous, even with that big gap.
Yeah, well, you said he's starting to hear things. He's seeing things. He's seeing this pink spoiler of Mark Davey in front of him. He's been stuck behind that car for quite some time now. The gap is down to 1.5 seconds. I mean, he's got to get by this 38 car if he wants to have a shot at keeping the lead, or keeping the gap that he has, because the 87's on the way, passing those lap cars. Only 2 more cars he's got to pass before he gets there, and of course Devin Fair is right behind. So this thing might not be over, but he's also in the traffic that's fast enough to kind of keep a little bit of that gap. It's down to just more than a second now, though. It's coming down to the wire here at South Boston Speedway. This is going to be a fascinating end.
A 1.5 second gap between the top 3 with 5 laps to go. Can it happen here at South Boston? And it looks like Devin Fair is going to try and make a move around Felix Anderson for the second position. There he goes. You can see that black and white 01. And here, coincidence or not, here is Devin Fair's teammate, Francois Chastain, in the 10, getting a little racy with the leader, Zach Rogers. 4 laps to go.
I mean, that 10 car, he can see his teammate behind. There's no other lap cars there. If the 10 car can put the 42 on the outside, he just has. This thing is not over yet, folks. This might come down to a photo finish. Look at this. Teammates helping out. The 42 is on the outside lane, and here comes Devin Fair.
3 laps to go. 2.5 now. Coming to 2 laps to go. Chastain has gotten back around Zach Rogers to get back on the lead lap, but critically, Rogers is still on the outside. Here comes Devin Fair. The gap now half a second. Now it's down to 2 car lengths. Coming to the white flag this time, Devin Fair looking for his second career win. This would be a tragedy for... He's to the inside of Zach Rogers. The white flag is in the air one more time around. This is proper tragedy for Zach Rogers. He led 88 laps of this race. And he's not going to see the checkered flag first because Devin Fair, with an assist from Francois Chastain, rounds turn 4 for the final time, and it's Devin Fair with his second win of the season, and he does it at South Boston Speedway.
Oh my goodness, on the final lap, just an absolute heartbreak for the 42 car. My gosh, I mean, second place 2 weeks in a row, you'd want to be happy about that, but losing out on your first win like that, my gosh. That is such a heartbreaking moment there for the 42 car, and I'm sure that he's not going to be happy with the Francois Chastain in the 10 either. That is something incredible.
Felix Anderson came back to half a second behind to finish 3rd, ahead of Keon Daly 4th. Pads his points lead even further. Elijah Ironhouse rounds out the top 5 ahead of Keith Hughes in 6th. Casey Cooper fell back to 7th at the end. Nicky Martinez 8th. Ryan Caggiano made his way back up to the front of the field to finish 9th. And Aaron Hall rounds out the top 10 for his first top 10 in quite a long while. And with that being said, South Boston sure did not disappoint us. We had a dominant driver, but he sure didn't end the day in victory lane. That was Devin Fair. You gotta feel for Zach Rogers, though. His day is coming, though. And it might even come in 3 weeks' time at Denver.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that he lost that inside lane at the very worst moment. He had struggled in the beginning when he caught cars, and then at the very end when it mattered. So, great drive from the 01 car, and of course as well Keon Daly, who passed up most of the field to finish in 4th place ahead of all the other playoff drivers. A great job from both of those drivers, and a fantastic race we just saw. I really enjoyed that one.
So from Duke and Zach and for myself as well, we'll see you in 3 weeks' time when we head to Denver's road course for an exciting race there. Congratulations to Devin Fair. He got his second career win here today. Don't worry, Zach Rogers, your time is coming very soon.